Alright, Harry. Are you ready to start?
Fuck off. Die in a hole.
See, audience, this is what I get
Oh, what?
from Harry. See, didn't know he was recording.
You started recording?
He,
You started
he's
recording?
so abusive behind the scenes.
Yeah, if you, like, if you record, like, a little bit before and after when you normally would, you would hear the bruises.
Yeah.
That I leave from him. But only where it doesn't leave a mark. Wait, what?
He only punches me in the dick because he knows no one will see it.
I only beat him where it leaves the biggest bruises. Because it's like so comically, like his face is like swollen. It's like clearly something wrong. It's like it's no way someone did this to him.
Yeah, or it's like,
some kind of curse.
clearly they go to like a boxing gym or something because abuser wouldn't dare to punch them in those kind of places. But I think there's a bit of a that's weird. That's a weird notion that a man would beat his wife but only where the bruises show, because like this doesn't make sense. I think that's probably like it's like the most arrogant kind of jackass kind of evil person that would do that, which is also luckily would probably get him like caught pretty quick. So some solutions solve themselves. And speaking of
fist marks, speaking of solutions,
yeah, well, I don't know. Welcome.
Yeah, this is that series that we do make Overclock.
Yeah.
We were recording on Wednesday. We would normally record on the day that these come out, which is Tuesday. Unfortunately, we won't be out on Tuesday anymore. Recording on Wednesday. I mean, you know it's not out already. If you're watching this, you know you'll be thinking, "Damn, I really miss Overclock Workshop. Where was it yesterday?"
Yeah, what's happened? Have they both been brutally murdered by
I was in Brighton, aka London by the sea, for longer than I thought I would be.
And I was waiting patiently.
And even when I got home, but it was late when I got home. But then it ended up even whatever. We're here. It's a new age. Not because we're recording on a different day. This wasn't intentional. But it's a new age because we're talking about
what I haven't realised is we've crossed the halfway line now. You know.
Yeah, we had actually.
So that's pretty wild. But yeah, we are now at Driller, which I'm looking forward to. Not inherently because of the Overclocks. Not by my choice.
It was Tyler's choice to do Driller before Scout.
Yeah, I mean, we did Engineer first, which was, you know, your Engineer main, so you kind of forced that upon everyone. So yeah. I made up for it by screwing over Scout mains.
Can I point out the fact that there was a time before we started this series, I was intending to do this as one video, the entire series.
Yeah, you were intended to do it like yourself as well. But then you're making up Overclocks. I'm like, oh, I want to do that.
And then I made the kit. That was I'm a genius.
Alternate reality would have a single video of Harry just listing a bunch of Overclocks that he came up with.
So it's funny because all three of the ones in the thumbnail on the title screen have fire on them.
Yes, they can probably call that
half intentional. Anyway, yeah. So. I mean, you probably know how the series works by now. I don't feel like explaining it. I'd rather just babble on longer than it would take.
I mean, we're halfway through. I mean, you've got plenty of videos to watch to find out how it's done.
Yeah. Anyway, the Flamethrower. I mean, I for some reason I always try, despite the fact that we go on for too long anyway. I always try to say, oh, how do we think of the weapon? We have opinions on the Flamethrower, but the point is, I'm going to stop trying to do this because at some point fairly soon we're going to rehash our opinions on the weapons in a more official capacity.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
And we don't have the time to give our opinions at the beginning of these videos.
I realised that a while ago. Long.
Yeah, exactly. So we should just go straight into it. As they say.
Which I think, to go straight into it, we must go straight into it. With
which we mean my unstable Overclock. Wait, what?
Harry, there isn't any animations on the.
Oh. Oh no. Then why did I see them when I tried recording?
Wait, there was animations earlier. I skimmed through it. Okay, well, this isn't working very well.
There are. They're not. They've gone. They've disappeared.
Yeah.
This isn't our fault. We couldn't have predicted this.
But we're professionals. We skim past it, Luckily, I mean, we start with a clean. So if you just want to introduce it, but
I mean, you can introduce it.
I can. This is Harry's Overclock, as you can see, flameproof.
It's got a shield with the fire in it. So I sort of took the. Well, I actually think I did a good job this week. I shouldn't really say that. I mean, that's what I was going to do. I was going to explain why I'm not an idiot, but I didn't have the time. Maybe I can leave it to the end.
Leave it to the end.
Why both of us aren't idiots and why the series prevents us from being idiots. There's a very specific caveat that I should have introduced from the beginning.
We're very intelligent.
Can you hear that?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, so I assume no.
It's a plane.
Then no.
Anyway, yeah. So one of the flamethrower's weaknesses, one of them, it doesn't really have much stopping power. As good as it is against crowds, I mean, as powerful as it is, what it really lacks is the ability to keep you safe. If you know what I mean? Like, because obviously freezing enemies, they're frozen. Such pump slows them down. I wanted to play with that, but not just go that direct. It's like actually anti-stopping power. So what it does is reduces the damage you take from on-fire enemies, and that means you need to bring up the information. So yeah, basically the opposite of stopping power, as in they just do less damage to you. Now, obviously, it's a very simple idea, and this is why I wish I sort of explained that thing I was going to explain, and now I'm going to do it at the end. It's that the numbers don't actually matter.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can have a really terrible idea conceptually, but the numbers don't matter. So maybe this is, I don't know if it's too much. It's definitely not too little. 50% seems like a lot, but then you realise types of enemies. Grunts will die pretty much before they get to you, and a lot of enemies, like you can't set dreadnoughts on fire. You're going to be reducing damage from things like the things you really want this for is like Praetorians and oppressors and
and I think it does still maybe do a bit much. Only really considering you set most things on fire very easily. And you'll send a lot of things on fire. So you set like a horde on fire, and then jump into them with this, and you will probably come out pretty safe.
That was the idea, which is obviously like I said, the numbers. Even sometimes the category doesn't matter because there's probably a better version of this that exists as a balanced or unstable. Another half of it was not just covering for the flamethrower's lack of stopping power, but Driller. Like the idea of Driller as a brawler really only works with the cryo cannon. I thought, well, a way that we could make that work with the others, and in this case, I only did it for the flamethrower. I didn't do it for the surf pump, but the way this could work for others, well, what if the enemies are just weaker? So you could set hold on fire, and then you could dive in with the drills, and not like you could very easily tear through. The grunts will probably die anyway, but you could just get in there more easily, which is something that drillers have meant to do, in my opinion. But you can't really do it still with the flamethrower. You're very exposed if you actually get up close with the flamethrower. And I sort of think that this eats that. I'm not saying it covers that entirely, even at 50%. Even though that could be too much potentially. I don't know.
50% is a bit much.
Well, yeah, this
considering
is a case where
how
I think
like constant the resistance is going to be, really.
Yeah.
Like the vast amount of enemies that are going to do less damage to you, and how long that's going to last for. Compare it to my, burst like pistol one, where you're going to have a 50% resistance for like a second if you time it right.
Exactly, which it probably should be something more like 30, especially as a clean. I'd probably be more comfortable. My brain just went to 50% for whatever reason. I mean, frozen enemies can't attack, and that's just a part of the cryo cannon. But then again, this is adding something onto the flamethrower that didn't have before.
Yeah.
That could potentially rival that. So maybe it should be brought down. It's not meant to rival what the cryo cannon does. It's just meant to cover for that specific weakness of the flamethrower. I'm not trying to make them the same.
This is, I think there are like this. I think is fine, but you could take this in different directions with the concept of the flamethrower allowing you to be close range. Like maybe it could be like it gives you like a heat shield or something, like I don't know, enemy set on fire gives you shield or some shit like that. Like there are a lot of different ways you could take the flamethrower helping you out, but I think
even with like the icon, maybe an idea where on fire enemies deal like massively reduced damage to shields. It's very specific.
That might be pretty cool, yeah.
Like 80%, but it's like it's unstable, and you like your flame reach just like tanked like 3 meters. Like
yeah,
it's like a shotgun.
But like. Yeah, and maybe not they'll do more damage to your flesh, but I think that would be pretty cool. Also sounds like isn't that
flesh,
Borderlands?
I think maybe it's make you take more damage to your flesh.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's not a bad idea.
Like Borderlands, isn't it? Like fire being better.
Speaking of Borderlands, well, we'll get to it.
I think.
Yeah, I don't know what else I can say about this really. I mean, it's like to know whether the number is right. You want it in game. Like I believe in the idea, but this is one specifically where to make a judgment on how much it should be, I would need to see it in game. But in general, I believe in the idea.
I mean, I'm fond of damage reduction as a whole being like a build you can kind of go for. Preferably, I like it more that there is a legitimate one on Gunner, so there's not really one on Driller, but that's not really what this is for.
It's also a little bit different because this is almost like a pseudo. It's not a new status effect, obviously, but it's like a pseudo status effect that makes enemies deal less damage, which I think is something that should be looked into in some capacity.
A weakening status effect.
It could be a grenade. It could be a grenade. It's like the opposite of an IFG. It makes enemies faster, but they deal less damage.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if Scout did get a grenade like that. What's it? I forgot it's gone. But yeah, a Scout, because it wouldn't do damage, but it would make them easier to kill, which is like what Scout's grenades do. But yeah, I think this is fine. Its numbers a bit high, I do think though.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I mean, I don't well, it could be. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, when
we will see.
Inevitably
because when they add
it
to the game. Oh, I want to say something about that very quickly. That I didn't know about is that they were prototyping a bunch of new overclocks for the old weapons for Season 2. And they said they'd been put on the back burner as to be added at some point. I just think they've gotten a full selection. I think they're probably just going to try and build them up over time. I don't know. But they were making some. They just didn't finish them.
That is the best thing to do, because as mentioned, I didn't think they were going to add them next season because they're kind of still balancing what's currently in the game.
Yeah.
And I think only then, once they balanced all that, can they then add this new layer of cement that's going to really mess up the floor.
No, they were just waiting for us to finish the series. So let's get on with it.
Yeah.
Right.
We say a day late. Yeah.
Oh.
Speaking of, once again, no animation.
Of day late.
It's just steel beams. It's my Overclock.
What stupid name.
It's because, you know, jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams. It's a 9/11 reference,
jet
Harry.
Fuel?
Because
it's a 9/11
I didn't want to call it jet fuel.
I love
those. But it is a... I added the melts armor because I did a thing where I was just kind of telling Harry the name of my Overclocks because he was going to find them out anyway when I sent him to him, and I wanted him to guess what it could be, and he went with melts armor, which I didn't hate. But my the one I had was just more heat, as you can see, which is just a mod. So if you put the mod on this on, it was like 30.
Which is I don't think you understand how much that is though.
A lot.
It's a lot. This is stupid.
No,
it's stupid because that mod does so much. That does more than pretty much any other mod. That's one of the most powerful mods in the game, I think. It doubles your heat output, and in fact, you could have that, but with but you wouldn't have to take the heat mod. Like with it, it's almost redundant, in my opinion. There's a reason why you have to choose that out of 3 options. Basically, I just don't think it should be 10. I've always wanted more heat overclock, but as a clean, 10 is too much, especially for another bonus.
No. Being able to set things on fire is, don't get me wrong, very nice. But I think this is not that... honestly, as much as I'm about to say everything I'm about to say, I would use this overclock all the time.
Yeah, because it's overpowered.
Yeah, but no, it's not. It is powered, okay? It's just that all of the other Flamethrower overclocks fucking suck, okay? This isn't overpowered. It's just powered. in comparison to everything else. It's just a mod.
Even if Face Melter did more damage, this would still be too strong. When Face Melter should do more damage, by the way. It's well. What I'll say is, I could see it existing, if only if it was just the heat, and it was balanced. I don't know what you would take away. Probably damage or sticky flames. Knock something off in that department. The armor thing is interesting. I guess it comes down to how much armor breaking does it actually have, because it's sort of a weird bonus that is probably more powerful than you think.
It's unnecessary. It helps everyone, but it doesn't help you.
It would do.
Well, I guess.
Mainly with the Sabata, because especially with explosive reload, because then you no longer have to think about where you're going to hit the Praetorian, because its armor's gone, and it would also help your teammates quite a bit. So, you know what? This as it is, it could be balanced. I think.
Well, yeah,
I think both of these with 0 penalties is kind of ridiculous, but you could also pick one or the other as a clean potentially, because like I said, the heat does become somewhat redundant if you take the mod as well. 30 heat per tick. I'm pretty sure that would set the grunt on fire in 2 ticks, but probably maybe even 1. Which is that was the issue. Yeah, sure, good. Why not? Why not?
Well, if something leans into something, it should. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
like, I'm making it do more heat damage. It's no surprise that it's setting things on fire quicker. That's the point of it. But setting things on fire
I'm not sure you understand how
that
much more ammo efficient it would make it against grunts, specifically.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit. And it's a clean.
Cleans are allowed to be strong.
I'm not convinced that it shouldn't have any penalties. It's also 2 quite different bonuses.
Yeah, but not really. Right, well, I can see a build here, which, as you mentioned, you could probably use it at anything because it's broken. But literally, you set things on fire, melts the armor, you switch out Sabata, Sabata does more damage to fire, and you're hitting flesh. This is just would be a very nice thing for a Flamethrower Sabata build. And I don't see how you see this as being broken, because the fire status effect isn't that important, or it wasn't. Now against the robots this would actually be kind of broken, but the robots are going to, we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I just always wanted a heat mod, and I didn't really want to make it a medium or not medium, like a balanced or unstable, because it's just heat at the end of the day.
Well, no, the only actual problem is that, like I said, it's about the fact that you have to pick this. How it is at the moment, you have to pick this as a mod. That's the same amount, and now you can take, double normal heat, but also with like sticky flames or increased damage. That's the issue, in my opinion.
Sure, but that won't do much. The little bit more damage and a little bit more sticky flames will not change much about the output of the gun. It will be really.
I suppose it wouldn't change sticky flames builds necessarily.
No.
And probably not even face melter builds.
It just leans into a heat build more, because currently
that's
there
weird.
isn't.
I'm sorry, it just feels too much. I wouldn't put these in the same clean. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I think it does. Just more heat. Melts armor. It's just hotter. It's just a hotter gun. Simple
Yeah, why not? I still think that as it is, it should be balanced either, or just take either half as a clean. That's just my take. I don't think it should be changed necessarily. I wouldn't change either of the points. I want to have armor breaking. I want to have more heat. It's as simple as that. I mean, I don't know if it would actually be broken. It could be, but like I said, I think it would also be quite redundant. As in.
So you think it will be absolutely game breaking, but also useless?
No, I don't mean useless. I just mean that much more heat. I don't know how much would notice it.
Against robots, you'd probably burn them immediately.
Yeah, but you kind of almost do anyway.
Yeah, I know, but now you would.
Even the patrol bots, it's like as soon as heat radiance kicks in, it's like they're gone. Because heat radiance takes a little, like half a second to kick in, and it's just, oh, it's gone. Oh no. Oh no. So yeah, well, more heat. I'm breaking. Two things I want in the flamethrower. I don't know if this is the perfect version. It's definitely not the perfect version of it, by the way.
So, no, Harry, it is. No negatives. It's perfect.
That's not what perfect means. That's not what...
Sure it is. It means what I say it means, Harry. And I, since I'm in charge, I'm going to move on. And there's nothing you can do to stop me.
Huh?
And considering when we change the screen, it will immediately bring up all the stats. Maybe you want to start building up to it now?
Will it?
Yeah, it's no animation.
Oh.
I told you this.
I just didn't read it. So... This one was more directly hitting stopping power, like in a more literal way. Stopping power and burst damage, which the flamethrower lacks, but also trying to do that without making it too powerful. And there we go. When an enemy set on fire, they take a little bit of damage and are briefly stunned. And it's like I tried to do this very modestly, where it's like it's a short stun and it's actually a small amount of damage, and you can't abuse it either, which was the sort of not the deal breaker, but the thing that I was most conflicted on. What would it actually be like if you could abuse it? Because like that's the main negative, or like sort of the thing to keep it in control, is the fact that enemies have to fully cool down before you can do it again.
You can still temperature shock though, right?
Well, that's again, you could probably abuse it without it being abusable, in the way that you just wait for an enemy to go below on fire, then you instantly heat them up again, because temperature shocking them would fully cool them. So you would temperature shock and then do this again and just cycle. So I don't know, but I do like the idea
while stunning them.
I do especially like the idea of stun on the flamethrower though, because it's like it's like flash points. Like once they're on fire, it's like a flash of flame and it blinds them almost. And also the idea of it almost feels like it deals like a burst of damage when enemies set on fire anyway. But it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I realise it doesn't. That was a mistake I made when I read the description of Inferno, and I thought it applied to all fire, but it doesn't. But even if it does, it's a little bit more. So it means your flamethrower can periodically deal little bursts of damage, and I think the other negatives are fine. I don't know if I missed one, potentially, like damage or something, or heat. Maybe heat.
Are you aware the actual, like, vast amount of damage increase you are doing to the flamethrower?
Not as much as you think, I reckon.
If you were to just, like, just sweep over about a bunch of grunts, igniting them all, they will die.
Yeah, the grunt thing is definitely...
Normally they would, I mean, eventually maybe die, but they would just die.
That was another issue I faced, where I, in part, realised that, but I also want it to be viable against bigger enemies. But at the same time, it kind of doesn't need to be. So I definitely want that little bit of extra damage, but at the same time, even if it's something like 25, even if you cut it in half, I think that would still insta-kill grunts once they're set on fire, or basically insta-kill them. So, ooh. But the main point was the damage came afterwards. The main point was a stun. Enemies are stunned once they've been set on fire.
But I feel like the stun is going to
stopping power.
I mean, well, I don't think the stun's going to fall into the background, but I think it's going to often...
It wouldn't fall into the background if it was the only thing there and it was slightly better. Because imagine, especially against groups of grunts, that would still be really good, because they get stunned once they're set on fire and they would like stop in place and radiate heat better because they're not moving.
I think the flame reach and flow rate is a fairly good balance.
Yeah, because I'm not a fan of reducing important stats like damage and ammo. But I thought if we take a 2 isn't huge, but I think you'll notice it when it's on both of those things.
Yeah, it's going to slow down how quickly they get set on fire and the amount you can set on fire. So it kind of, I don't know. There are different types of negatives, and this is just the one that like. You get buffed in this way, but it's harder to do that kind of negative.
So where are we at on the damage in general? I think maybe it should just not be a thing because it, like I said, came afterwards, and I wasn't sure.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think it still does do a burst of damage when ignited.
Yeah,
but
a little bit more be cool, and that was
a little bit
there when I was thinking about bigger enemies, which the flamethrower doesn't do well against on its own, and it still wouldn't be amazing. You still want to combine it with other things, but it's just a little kick up, just a little bit of kick.
Yeah, but not to mention the abusability of temperature shock with it.
Yep. I mean, I think it'd be fine if... Well, no, I think it just probably would be very abusable, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, abusing stun on its own would be... Look, you'd be able to abuse it, but it wouldn't be as worth it to just do it over and over again. And of course, you can't stun oppressors, which are the biggest enemy that you can set on fire. So it would really be like... I mean, if you go against bacteria, I suppose, because then it will stop them from doing things like Trijaws, but then they die pretty much as soon as they set on fire anyway. Yeah, it's mainly for those sort of moderately sized enemies, I think, which is a department where the flamethrower on its own struggles. So I just wanted to give it a little bit of kick against those.
Yeah, but I
think you're right, though, in that maybe as it is, it would be adding too much when it comes to the stuff it's already good against, which is like big... small enemies which you would just eviscerate now.
Like it eviscerates grunts like as is, but you have to wait a couple moments for them to die. With this, you wouldn't.
Especially if this works with the targets explode mod.
Yeah, I mean, because this is literally they deal like probably more than enough damage when ignited to die almost immediately, and the amount of time they would spend alive, they're going to spend it stunned. So if they're just this is a grunt murderer. They wouldn't be able to stand a chance from like anything you do.
So I think if we gave it like a proper stun duration, and that was just the point of it,
yeah, I think maybe like a 2.5.
Yeah, because also you don't want
to
ignition. Like, I mean, I know Sabata's kind of forgettable, but I still don't want it to necessarily completely outshine Tranquilizer rounds, which is a good overclock.
Thing is, if anyone's smart, they'll use a temperature shock on this build still. It wouldn't be as damage-wise broken, even though temperature shock builds are anyway. But it would stun lock them, which is something. There is a pretty strong build there.
But
still.
I'm just thinking about what the main enemies would be really useful against. Because obviously you're going against Praetorians, but you wouldn't need to do it many times. You know that temp combo.
Yeah.
What's this really useful against? I think probably just general hordes.
Yeah, I think
mainly with like the guards and even like the slashers. It will stop them from hitting you up close once they're set on fire and they get stunned. If you this would help like for a brawler build as well. You could be more close range because the hordes aren't going to be able to like because grunt hordes they can still get hits on you if you're up close to them before you kill them.
Yeah, plus the heat radiance will make it ignite quicker, which kind of compensates the flow rate and flame reach. So you are going to be close range, getting that fire ignite, and then once they're ignited, if the damage is there, they're dead immediately. But even with the stun, they're probably going to die by the time the stun wears off. So
yeah,
it's pretty strong. And
it's pretty strong, but
I don't think it's
pretty cool.
I think it's strong at face value. And obviously with the temperature shock build, there is a lot of locking ability there that you could use, I imagine, for a build.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about though, because that build specifically, I don't know if its value would be that insane because of the things. It'll be really useful if you could do it against an oppressor, but you can't stun oppressors, so you can't really stun lock an oppressor. But like, there's not much point stun locking a Praetorian when temperature shock kills them so quickly anyway. I don't know.
Falls into a weird place where it isn't actually buffing that much to anything in particular.
But I think it has a place, and I do this over any of the balanced ones.
Yeah, but I think the fact that you can't figure out where that place is a bit worrying.
I think it's a combination of it's just stopping power. It's not necessarily specific. It doesn't have to be specific use. Like originally, I thought, bigger enemies. Yeah, it is. Not for the unstable though, and we'll see. But I just want it to have a bit more stopping power. Just any. Just give it one of these two. Just one of these two. That's all I want.
Honestly, preferably this one.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I like the damage resistant thing. It's just a slightly cool idea, but this would probably be easier to balance.
Yeah. Well,
because even just that very small momentary disruption against enemies. Even if it's like a really short stun, I can still see that having value.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like every time they're set on fire, you knock them out of their like attacks even up close. So it's just like, yeah, I think this could work. I think this would work very well. I think this would be very good.
Yeah. I think we've about wrapped that up.
Yeah, right, yeah, we're done. Yeah, see you later.
Now, I'm gonna kind of, I'm gonna, because I probably should have said it at the beginning. I really did kind of go off the chains of this shit. And I think Harry, considering Harry already, putting out my clean is apparently OP, probably bears mentioning that my balance isn't OP, I don't think, but it is a bit out there, and then my unstable was ridiculous. So the rolls are going to be pretty reverse in this video. I'm kind of saying that to build up Greek fire, which is a thing that's pretty cool. Sticky flame is wider. So basically, sticky flame, there's a line where you come in contact with an extra flame. So like an extra line then appears on the other side and the other side. So it's like triple lines with the breach cutter, but the sticky flame. Yeah. With the only negative being that you lose duration of the sticky flame while doing it. Which, now that I say it out loud, kind of uninteresting, but it is a bit weird.
Yeah, I don't know if... I feel like you've done this before, where you sort of like nerf the part of the gun that the overclock is speccing into.
Perhaps.
I just don't agree with the penalty. Because I don't... It strikes me as you sort of misunderstanding what exactly Sticky Flame does. Do you know what it does? Just sets things on fire. Just does more heat. So you'd need to actually probably need to add more to it. It probably need to be even bigger for it to really have a noticeable effect. Although it would be very good against Praetorians, I suppose. You put a bit of Sticky Flames beneath them. But I also don't think you understand how short Sticky Flames last already. That's the problem. That's why I disagree with the penalty here. And I'm going to give you a sign that you're still with me.
No.
No. Ah! I found it! Okay, Tyler, you have accidentally made the Sticky Flame duration 0 seconds. It's 2 seconds by default.
Go!
So...
I have eliminated Sticky Flame.
Okay, so what does the
Thank
upgrade
you.
add? Adds plus 3 seconds. So, would 1 second even work? Because that brings it down to 1 by default, but then 4 with the upgrade. But that's still so much shorter than Sticky Flames, where... Yeah, I don't know if you... I hope you agree with me that you should just change the penalty entirely.
Perhaps.
Okay. I don't care what it is, though. Let's just talk about the actual thing that it does. Well, I remember when you told me the name of this, my first guess was Sticky Flames Float. Be fine, because Sticky Flames aren't actually that strong on their own. That's what makes Sticky Fuel. That's why people love Sticky Fuel so much, because it increases the damage a big deal. So you really need to spec in flames. So the idea on face value is good, but I just think it should be bumped up quite a bit. That's all that's all I think, really. I definitely want to see it, like how it would work, because I was thinking, oh, what if it's like a pool? It's like a 9x9, not 9x9, 3x3, like a set of Sticky Flames, not just like a line of 3, like a square of 9. It's like 3 Sticky Flames. It's like I don't know, because I don't know what number would work. That's the problem. I'm sort of stuck in trying to. I don't even know, because I don't even know if I need to improve it or not. I really don't know if this would be good or not. That's my problem. Do you think it would be good?
I wouldn't use it.
You wouldn't use it?
No.
You wouldn't use it?
I don't use the flamethrower. But I don't know. I think I just wanted an alternative sticky build. And I thought, it'd also be pretty cool if you could have like a fat wall of fire, like a proper one.
It would be pretty cool.
I think. And I really didn't bother thinking any further than that. Just
well, it could be fine. All I'm going to obviously, thankfully, you agreed that the penalty should be changed because as it was, I mean, well, obviously it got rid of sticky flames. That was the problem. But even if it was a smaller penalty, like -1 seconds, if this, you know, affected sticky flames in any way negatively, it wouldn't be able to compete with the sticky field build in any way. But without those penalties, I think it probably can because you just have a lot more of it. You just
I think if
and there's also no ammo, but there's also no ammo nerf, which sticky field brings, I think. So there's that.
So I think maybe if sticky flames main use without the damage buff would be setting things on fire, maybe there needs to be just a base heat reduction from the gun.
I would agree with that because this is like a little bit like volatile impact reactor for the shard factor. It's like the magma thing. So that doesn't necessarily reduce your heat, but in this case I think it probably should because you get a lot of heat out of just using sticky flames. And the flamethrower penetrates anyway, so as long as you're aiming somewhat at the floor, you're pretty much always going to be laying sticky flames.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you have 3 of them is enough, where you'd be outperforming the amount of heat that you could have anyway. So
it probably could also do with a bit of duration buff, like a little one.
Maybe a little, even a little duration buff. Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, how much does sticky flames add? 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it could add 2. I think it could add 2. It's the opposite of what you've done. Yeah. Yeah, I just like that you buff the sticky flames themselves slightly, but the main point is it's just a lot more of them. And I think that would work, to be honest. It would work against hordes and single targets as well, because you could set Praetorians on fire very fast, very quickly.
Yeah, and I would like, if it are touching a lot of sources, I do think it would probably do a bit of damage, because I do want each individual fire to do damage. So to do damage. Yeah, and I'm not sure if it stacks the slowdown effect. I think it just generally applies them even if they're touching more than one. But
yes, I think that's correct. So that's fine. It doesn't need to slow down because you've got so much fire.
Yeah.
Because also sticky flames, you sort of draw lines like in front of you. You'd be drawing lines like towards you. You know what I mean? Don't you could be backing up and you'd just be putting.
You
wouldn't be going side to side. You could, but you wouldn't have to. That's why I like about it.
Well, I do like a Z shape where it would just be the entire floor in front of me is just ignited. It's just all you can see is flames and burning glyphids.
Yeah.
Which currently it's not really that. It's kind of pathetic, like many other things in the flamethrower.
Maybe just add even more flames, like a little cross, maybe. But that might be too much. I don't know. That's the part of this where I would need to see it in action to sort of evaluate how it should be.
That might be a level of balance as well. Maybe 9 would be too much, and I'd have to bring it down to 5.
Well, yeah, I think 5 is maybe a good middle ground. But maybe then you wouldn't need the duration buff.
Yeah. Well,
that's probably the ideal version of it. It's either the 5 or the 3 with the duration buff. I don't know if you agree. I agree. I agree.
Well, if he's agreed, I don't know what Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's... I think it'll be fun.
Fun idea. Fun idea with potential, I reckon.
But, yeah.
It's not bad. Not bad.
Now, we begin the unstables.
Oh, do you want me to introduce it before?
Yeah, you build up.
Right, okay. So, this one isn't about stuffing power. This is more so about something that I think you mentioned a while ago to me that you wish the flamethrower was like, where you can sort of, you know, shoot it a little bit and then sort of leave it to work in a way. Or you sort of wanted that for enemies themselves or something. I don't remember.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, the point of this really is this is about starting fires. As in you start a fire. That's why it's called wildfire.
Should I start now? All right.
Yeah. So, this is basically about finding a way to let the flames almost work on their own, and that's why the penalties are going to be what we're going to be talking about probably more so here, because we've got increased flame reach, which is equal to the balanced one, but you know that's the balanced one. That's all it does, and it has a very small negative. So increased flame reach. On fire, enemies radiate heat more effectively, and enemies that die while on fire leave sticky flames behind. So there's just lots of fire, and you can also set enemies on fire from further away, so it will cause this stuff to happen from further away. So you can sort of keep your distance and have the fire just rage. Basically, it's the idea. It just spread. I just like the idea of fire. You have more range with the flamethrower and more potential for the fire to spread. That's what I wanted to do, and I'd say I've successfully done that. Whether or not it's too strong or not is the debate. And I think what I'd rather do is just what I want to do is just correct the penalties. I don't really want to change the positives. I just want to find a way to balance these positives without changing them. I don't know if you think the positives need to be changed. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Well, I think the positives are fine, really. I mean,
yeah, I didn't think they were
the only one
crazy.
That's kind of wild is the enemies leave sticky flames, but even then, I think that's fine.
It wouldn't do as much as it sounds like it would.
Yeah, that's just it would just do like little bits every so often, so the spreading of the heat doesn't end when things die.
Yeah,
it continues.
It is meant to be a combination of somewhat modest things. Like these could all exist as their own balance overclocks, but sort of combining them to just create an overall effect of just more fire.
Yeah, well, I love it.
Which is why I reduced the ammo and damage, which is first for me, because the damage isn't about direct damage. Now, actually, I'm gonna save a point about that, because the ammo, obviously, part of the idea of making fire spread on its own is also the idea of making it more ammo efficient. You should need less ammo with this, ideally.
Yeah.
I don't know if it
would.
I hope it's ammo efficient overclock. I don't know if it actually is.
The issue is, Harry, is it's only as ammo efficient as the enemy spawns allow, which may not be that efficient. Which is the thing with the sticky flames. How much ammo does sticky flames get rid of?
75.
Yeah. And I think this...
minus 25 tank size, that's basically minus 100.
I think this is kind of on the line of the 100 is just... I don't think it's going to kill that much per shot.
Well...
For 100 of the ammo.
No, well, what I'll say about that is, this is more for... I mean, obviously the flamethrower is a swarm killing weapon anyway, but you would want to use this... You probably wouldn't want to use this against anything on its own, basically. But... Another thing, the way that Sticky Fuel works, it's really only good with that build where you take the upgrades that add to Sticky Flames. In this case, you could have all the benefits that this Overclock presents, and still take the 2 ammo mods. You'd end up with more ammo than the Sticky Fuel build, I think. So, it just depends on how because I don't think slow down from Sticky Flames and fear are going to be... Maybe Sticky Flames duration would be really good with this, actually. So you might want to take that. I don't know. But, you don't need flow rate or fear necessarily. I mean, fear might work, actually. Fear might work.
Flow rate wouldn't be bad.
All right. Maybe it should be the same ammo penalty as Sticky Fuel.
Yeah.
All right. I'll concede that. But then it's the
damage output, I think, is fine, because you really shouldn't use the damage out of this gun to kill.
Well, that's the point. This is what I was going to say. It's almost a positive. Because it actually means that the grunts, the grunt, for example, are less because you could set a single grunt on fire, and that could actually do a lot more work than you think. You don't need to sway back and forth to set all the grunts on fire. As long as you don't kill it, that one grunt might be enough to set the rest of them on fire, because, like I said, they radiate heat more effectively. So the fact that you're not going to kill it as easily is actually a good thing.
I do think I'm more I think about it, this would be the Overclock. It just would be. It would be with a single shot you could eliminate a horde.
Yeah. I was considering, well, I'm considering now, I mean, maybe this would be something that could also remove sticky flames from normal use. I don't know. Because it would just tear through hordes. The flamethrower, you said, it already does that, but this would do it better and from a range. It's almost
as soon as you ignite
it's like you're
one
giving
enemy,
an enemy heat radiance.
Yeah.
So obviously they all have that, but this is even stronger. But that is also why I didn't give the numbers.
Isn't this
because that effect is quite complicated, but also because I don't know what the right numbers would be to add to make that balanced. I just know I want the enemies to radiate more heat.
Doesn't the fella do that? The wave cooker.
I think it's meant to, but that upgrade doesn't feel like it does anything.
Well, I know that it does with freezing because I've watched it.
More effectively means that an on-fire enemy, not only does it give more heat to the enemies near it, but it's also more range. It's both. It's like it's more effectively. It spreads heat further and it applies more heat. So that's actually kind of the main point of this. There's even like there's probably a chance that you could actually take that and just make it so powerful that it could be the whole overclock on its own. But I like this combination of things. What is that?
What's what?
That plane! Holy shit! That looks amazing, and it's making no sound. It's massive. Oh my god! Like a massive military cargo plane just flew past.
They dropped a care drop. I'm gonna grab the spaz.
Such a dodgy sentence.
Yeah. I've been playing Rust recently, and I got a spaz from a care package, and that's why I said that.
Yeah. Anyway,
I do not call retarded people spazzes.
You can't use that word.
What can you call them then? Mentally handicapped?
Stop.
Alright, we're playing with wildfire here.
Anyway, yeah, wildfire, it's basically sticky flames, but without using sticky flames, which I think would be more satisfying because you don't have to use the ground. You have to use the bugs.
Yeah, no, you did basically capture the sentiment I wanted 4 years ago, which I still want, but it's the reason why I stopped using the flamethrower. It's because it just doesn't have this. Like setting things on fire isn't that important.
Sticky fuel is such a specific build that, in my opinion, as good as it is, I don't think a mod or an overclock or anything on the flamethrower really just pushes its swarm clearing any further than it is by default. Really.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do here. And I have succeeded.
If anything, just too much. I think that is the thing. I think this very much could actually just be broken. You could use 10 ammo to clear out an entire horde, if you're lucky enough.
Well, that's why I wanted to focus on the negatives so much, because... But at the same time, it's in this sort of position where the negatives are the part of this where I would need to decide later on. Like I said, I was very fixated on the positives. This is what I wanted to be. I just wanted to adjust the penalties. So I needed this. I would need to see it in game to know. Maybe we need to have a massive ammo reduction. I don't know.
Well, the thing is that you can't do that. You should, but you can't, because if you were lucky, you could use 10 ammo and you could kill an entire horde. Or you could use all of your ammo and kill a couple grunts that were far apart constantly. If you just get jumped by a single bunch of times, right?
What if the flame leaped?
Oh, is that
almost like a fireball?
Oh,
leaping from one enemy to the other.
Now I'm gonna change. Right. Actually, I'm gonna clarify first. If you partake in the Borderlands 2, first of all, you're cultured. Second of all, I don't know why I'm pretending like I play it more than a couple times ever, considering Harry plays.
You've played a fair bit. You've only played one character, but
and that character is Creed. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The people that know in the audience that I'm gonna pick his final tier upgrade, being Raving Retribution, which is also a cool name, which is for his perk, but also just generally.
Yeah, I forgot that's what that was when I first read it. I thought it made the enemies dance.
Yeah. So, this is going to sound wacko tobacco, and that's because it is, right? But I just want to clarify, I'm fine with a default-ass, boring-ass fireball upgrade, but that's boring-ass. And I'm fond of boring ass, but only when it comes to stat increases. If you're gonna do something interesting, do it right and make it something. And I just straight up copied fucking Craig's.
Oh, I just realised how it works. I'm dumb.
Thank you. So I'll explain it for the everyone that doesn't know.
Me, I don't know.
I probably shouldn't start with the top one because it makes the least sense. Start with the first negative. Every time you ignite an enemy, you have a 25% chance of setting yourself on fire, which as Krieg and Driller doesn't mean much because you are kind of immune to fire most of the time. But what it does mean is, first positive, if you are hit with when you're on fire, you release a fireball that homes towards an enemy. The fireballs then do 5 times damage of like a shot, which I don't think the Flamethrower does that much. Probably like what, like 5 something, 10.
Okay. So this is what I wanted to establish: what the fireballs actually do. Hold on.
Yeah. And 5 times heat, which is basically guaranteed to ignite something on impact, which is kind of the point.
50 heat would.
50
but
to 100.
Hold on, 100 would ignite anything. Damage, it would be 22.
Which isn't
or
that broken.
30. Now, I have questions, obviously, but then also I need to understand exactly what's going on here with the fireballs themselves.
Also remove sticky flames.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So I assume the fireball goes towards the enemy that hit you.
An enemy.
The one that spawned it.
But they're probably going to be the closest, considering they just hit you.
AoE, or do they just hit the enemy that...
I'm thinking, for balancing reasons, just the enemy.
But then we need to figure out how many can there be. It's just like,
probably
maybe it should be like thorns.
Probably, yeah.
Thorns
I'm thinking thorns slight cooldown just so it ain't broken.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, so you release like a stream, and being ignited will last probably not that long. Probably about...
Well, no, the more heat that's applied, the longer they'll be on fire.
Yeah, but yeah. So I guess, well, it's the amount of time, because you ignite yourself, and then as you're kind of cooling down, that amount of time is how long you have to get hit to release fireballs. And while you're ignited, I guess. And then once you've been ignited, I guess maybe you should have a cooldown, but at least until you've cooled down, you need to be no more fire before you can be ignited again. I also should probably reduce the chance of setting yourself on fire, but I would also like to mention I shouldn't think too much about this because this is ridiculous. It could never be added to the game. But
well, what's the point in talking about it then?
Isn't that most of yours, Harry? I'm just bold enough to admit it.
Fuck this, somehow. What?
But yeah, I don't know, because I think Driller
I don't think the risk-reward here is actually balanced. I think this is too much risk to reward. Because what's it really going to... Because you don't... Especially if you're on fire, you don't want to get hit by a Praetorian just so you can set it on fire a little bit quicker than you would be anyway if it's close enough for this to happen.
Well, yeah, you don't want to, but you can. I think maybe there should be like a radius thing as well. If you ignite an enemy within a certain distance of you, so it kind of proves that you're in danger, therefore will kind of kick up the defense mechanism that is throwing out fireballs.
First of all, I do think they should have an area effect. And I think they should also inflict fear.
So make it more broken. Yeah, let's do it.
Also, I think it should spawn 12 fireballs every time you hit. And I think... I also think that we shouldn't have any penalties. Well, actually, hold on. Speaking of the penalties, like I said, I don't think the risk reward is good enough, but at the same time, I also don't think the penalties are good enough. Remove sticky flames. Sure, why not? This is still new sticky flames. But at the same time, that's the thing. It's not really a penalty.
Neither of them are.
Exactly. Neither of them are. So, what do? I have no fucking idea. This is stupid.
Thing is, Harry, I think the penalty that you have to be hit to do anything, and you're setting yourself on fire.
I think you're right.
Should be enough.
Yeah, I mean that's true. That's correct.
It's just that, generally, Driller more than any characters is just content with getting the shit kicked out of him. more often than not, or being in an area where the shit's getting kicked out of him, and he has, like, you know, very good access to vampire, unlike the other characters. Which obviously not having the cryo makes that a bit less so, but the axes and drills are still a thing.
The fireball still made it.
As much as I would say fucking sure, because I don't legitimately believe it. Well, the thing is I believe that they could add this. I don't think this would break the game, and I think it would be fun. The main issue is that it's very clearly Krieg's upgrade, so they can't just fucking steal it.
Yeah, I also want. So maybe we can play with this a little bit, because what I want to do, or what neither of us did, was really create an overclock that helps with one of the biggest weaknesses of the flamethrower that I completely forgot about, was it kind of shit against bosses.
That too.
No, not even single target specifically, because especially when it comes to the combos, it's very good against things like oppressors and praetorians and spitballers, because you can combo it things so effectively. But you can't combo it with things on dreadnoughts. How do we fix that? No fucking idea. The first idea would be, what if the fireballs could spawn? Well, every time you set anything on fire, so it would basically be, if we tried to make it work against dreadnoughts as it is,
it wouldn't.
It wouldn't work against normal dreadnoughts. No, it wouldn't work against any dreadnoughts. Obviously, it wouldn't work against normal dreadnoughts or the twins, but it wouldn't work against the hive guard, because you can't damage the hive guard while the sentinels are out, so it wouldn't make a difference that the sentinels are there to be set on fire. It would work against warlocks.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I think it's just, as mentioned at the beginning of this, really, fireballs is like the main idea. Like, I imagine if we were to put like definitely gonna add to any upgrade on like any gun, they should add some form of burst fireball-ish damage to the flamethrower. Maybe not inherently a fireball, because there is, you know, snowball, but you know, the kind of high instance of damage is something the flamethrower desperately needs on its own right. So then you can kind of do something else.
I tried to do that a little bit with Flashpoint, but then we sort of filtered it down to just stunning, and the fact that it wouldn't have worked against bosses anyway.
Yeah.
So
you kind of have to abandon the actual fire element of the flamethrower to do that damage, which is I'm kind of thinking, you know, and, like,
well, you know, it's sort of like, maybe you're not meant to, but at the same time, it's like, sure, there are you can get good burst damage with explosive reload or thinking field or blistering necrosis, but
you also got
the crow cannon and the sludge pump can be very good against bosses. The sludge pump just is because nothing can resist it.
Yeah.
The crow cannon is because
Ice Spear is very strong. You can use
Ice Spear, and you can still freeze dreadnoughts to get a lot of burst damage out of that. The flamethrower doesn't have anything, and I don't know if we should save this for the final pitch, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be our final pitch for the flamethrower, so maybe we should take a little time now to figure this out.
Yeah.
Obviously, the obvious answer is just make it do a shit ton of damage, but that's not how it works.
I mean, I'm thinking, you know,
the other obvious answer is the one that doesn't work and cannot be done, which is, well, it can be done. It's the one where the flamethrower can bypass flame resistance. The main reason that can't be done is because of how temperature works, and you'd actually have to change the dreadnoughts to have a much lower heat threshold. It's not like having it so that, you know, taser bolt can electrocute a dreadnought. It's not the same thing. It's not simple as that. I
think I don't know. You are kind of looking somewhere along the lines of like a different firing mode, which isn't the easiest to implement because it has a magazine, but it's not difficult. Or salvo module, something like that.
Well,
instead of releasing a stream of fire, you hold it up and release fireballs, that kind of stuff. Just some like simple things already in the game that will allow an amount of burst damage would be something.
Okay, so one of my ideas I had that I didn't create was Flamethrower, which is like the original flamethrowers from World War One. They would spray on fire napalm, basically. So I had the idea of, what if we could put sticky flames on living enemies? So the flamethrower would like spray flames, like spray in an arc, like gooey fire that does damage to whatever it's touching. It would essentially be making it the goo cannon.
Well, it would be a bit like what's it? The tumor shits, but instead of doing damage by dealing damage to that, they just deal damage by being stuck to the enemy.
Yeah.
Which I don't. I think it could somehow work. I think for the sake of sanity reasons, I think we're gonna have to call it a day. But
yeah, you're.
Point is, I went off the rails with this unstable, and I don't regret it. To be honest with you, I want this in the game. Normally, I give Harry a lot of shit for this.
Even though it sort of sounds like you probably might want more, or at least I don't know.
Oh, what your
unstable?
Oh yeah, unstable. I think that would definitely.
That's the one that should be added.
Yeah, I think that would be a playstyle that I'd be more than happy to play with. But if they added this to the game, I wouldn't be able to ever stop using it. Like, because as mentioned, I've only ever played Krieg with Borderlands because I just find him so fucking fun, and this would carry over to a character I also find fucking fun. So, point is,
what else could we? What other Borderlands things could we add?
Well,
I'm saying that because I had something.
Is it for a different gun?
Yeah, you can move us on to the end screen now if you want.
End screen time. If you're looking for the Overclocks, video's over. Thank you for watching.
Well, there's plenty of references, like some of my Cry Cannon ones, Simpsons reference, Despicable Me reference. I had an X-Men reference for the Sludge Pump, but I changed it.
Alright.
There's a Prince of Darkness reference.
Why are you just going through references, Harry?
Oh, that's it. Okay. I found it. It's a big thing from Borderlands. I did something. I did a thing.
So you found it just to proceed to be very vague.
To do with Tedior.
Oh. Wait, which one's Tedior is the explosive one, right?
Yeah. No, that's Torg.
Oh, Tedior's one that you throw the gun, right?
Yes.
Right. Is that for the Sabata?
No.
Is that for the EPC?
Oh, there is another one on the EPC. There's actually another Borderlands reference on the EPC.
We like Borderlands on this channel, which I imagine Borderlands
There's also
game...
a COD Zombies reference.
Of course there is. You literally made one just a minute ago.
It's a reference.
It's World War I.
Oh, speaking of COD Zombies, well, that's for after.
But Harry, you got your speech on why we're not fucking idiots.
Oh, why we're not? Oh shit, I've forgotten it.
Oh, that's a shame.
It was something to do with the fact that I've really forgotten.
You mentioned it when there was the numbers for your clean. That were minus 50%.
Oh yeah, okay. So part of the point of the Overclock workshop is basically to present an idea, not a pitch. We haven't got to that stage yet. We sort of do turn them into what we think could work in game, but that's really the point of these videos, is to take these ideas and see if they can work. It doesn't matter if we present something utterly ridiculous that can't work. We'll find out if it can't work by talking about it. It doesn't matter how stupid or even bad an idea is. There's an element of you should be trying somewhat, but. What
are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that I think I've made some mistakes. It's not to do with you, it's me. Where did the animations go?
Who knows?
I'm just saying it really doesn't matter, because that's the point of the workshop, is to see, not only to make not just to make the idea work, but to see if it can. No worries. No woman, no cry.
Peace in our time.
Peace in our time. That's the Jericho. That's what he said when he launched the Jericho. That was the mistake.
I don't know what the Jericho is.
It's from Iron Man.
Oh, right.
It's a missile. Oh, wait, no, it's just Peace in our time. It's something to do with Ultron, isn't it?
Probably. But
how are we meant to end these videos now?
I think we just like cut off midway. I can just cut us in the middle of the talking.
Today is Friday in California.
I saw that video because I was on the channel and I was going to type something up and I see that was just in the recommended or like in the search bar. I'm like, okay, well, I've kind of got to watch it.
Oh, yeah, baby. I was going to make a funny noise, but I've forgotten what it was.
Oh, the tragedy.
Oh, the tragedy. It was going to be really good. I was going to do something funny.
I suppose actually I should mention, this Saturday we are, I'm doing one of two things. Either doing a hate video, like, you know, I don't know, but there are people do love videos on Deep Rock. I do hate videos on Escort Duty, and or game mode pitch. I've come up with a game mode and I'm really fond of it, so I'm going to pitch it. One of those two, depends on how I finish.
Did you not realise that your idea of a maze works with that ridiculous idea we had of that AI that creates like fake caves?
It works. Everything works with that idea of AI.
I know, because it's a hologram. Because it's not real. That was a reference to an old thing, something we did before. It's called keep the oven hot, Tyler.
I'd rather not. I'll burn the house down. But I think that's enough. I think we've wasted your time for long enough. Thank you for watching.
I disagree. No, I need to find this podcast that I just referenced, because I feel like if I bring up something from an old video, I can't like say where it's from. I feel like an idiot.
It was the
one after the grenades one.
Yeah.
What is actually coming next season?
And then we kind of
podcast episode 11.
Yeah, and then we just kind of, I mean, James was there for that one, I'm pretty sure, wasn't he?
Yep.
And yeah, we kind of just ran off with random ideas of events and stuff. But point is, if you want to watch a video next, then try that one. It's long, like all of our videos. So I guess you kind of signed up for that.
Just watch the season 3 patch notes. Patch notes? Roadmap.
I'm sure they already have. In fact, I can guarantee that everyone right now has at least clicked on that video.
Oh, do you want to hear, guys? Do you guys want to hear some music? Right, we gotta go.
Yes, you've got to stop. You procrastinated starting this video, and now you're procrastinating ending it.
Yeah. So thank you all for watching.